Welcome to POV You're a Girl. I'm your host, Cyane Kanoe.
And I'm Christian Bolasani, her mom.
Okay, so you guys, we had a really emotional morning.
Totally.
Totally stressed out to the max. But, it's all good. So today is February 28th, 2025. We're probably going to not be posting this on February 28th, 2025, but whatever. Oh, she was so cute that would just walk by. But what's it called is
Fishbowl.
Fishbowl.
Kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, we're currently at the hub in town in Oahu, trying out their new podcast studio. What do you guys think? Do you think we should keep podcasting here?
I think so. I kind of like it. Kind of like it. There's dogs. It makes me feel happy.
Yeah, there's people
working.
I think it's interesting. There's a co-working studio that's actually being in use.
Yeah.
I would love to see one out on the west side.
Don't talk about it because that was my nonprofit. This was from a plan.
Trust me, I know. My thing too, though, is I do wonder, would people use it out on the west side? I feel like they would.
They would.
I feel like they would. I just feel like there's no one who's kind of willing to put in that type of money. I also feel like with the federal defunding of everything, I'm kind of like.
They had a co-working shared space out in Kapolei. I forget what it was called. And then they were going to open up one in Ala Moana, but then all of that went down. I don't know. It was, I don't know what happening.
Some bullshit. But yeah, I would like to see one out on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
But again, brick and mortars are hard. But anywho, today is February 28th, 2025, like I said. Today is the economic blackout. So what that means is today we are not spending any money at corporate chains. We are not spending any money at corporations that do not support DEI. We are not spending money on cards so they cannot track what we're spending, so they don't think we're spending money.
So use cash.
I know none of us carry cash anymore, but surprisingly I do for today. I will, so I don't cross the picket fence line. But yeah, so in general, that's what we're doing today. So if you guys see on social media, you guys see anywhere where there's an economic blackout, try your best to support that movement and don't cross that picket fence line. Do not spend the money. Spend cash only. Shop small, shop local. Don't spend at big corporations. If you can. If it's inevitable, whatever. But I mean, if you can, do your best not to, because that's really going to stick it to the billionaires that are currently fucking with us.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways, today's thing is...
So that's the business tip for today?
Yeah. Mine's is go shop... Well, this is my business tip every day. Go shop local. Go shop small business as much as you can.
Support local.
Yeah, that's the way we're going to get our economy going.
I talked to Paco last night. And I asked him, he goes, I watched... He was excited. He saw RJ's podcast from last week. And he was like, I don't think I would be good for your... daughter's podcast. And I was like, why? You'd be great. He goes, me, I just joke too much and all that. I said, even more so, that would be perfect, even better. But he always says, his whole tagline is support local because it matters.
Support local because it matters. That's true, because truthfully, these big companies, your money to them, it really doesn't matter. But it does matter if we're all a united front. That's the thing. It doesn't matter, your purchase there doesn't matter to them, how a purchase at a small business would be. But if we all, as a united front, stop spending money at these big corps, that's when it matters. And that's why this economic blackout matters. And also,
just to see, right?
Yeah, and also, too...
Make a statement.
Yeah, and also,
Take
too,
a stand.
With the economic blackout, more local and small businesses will be supported, and they will love it more and appreciate it more than these big corporations who don't even want to hire us.
So like he says, support local. It matters.
It matters on all fronts. Not just to the small business owner, but to our economy in itself, to the well-being of others, and all of the things.
Business tips.
So that is our key takeaway. So we are going to do a speed run of FAQs. We're going to ask each other general, frequently asked questions that we both get, and we're just going to answer them, and we're just going to go. We're keeping this podcast small, in this space, because we just wanted to try it out for the two of us. We didn't want to bring in a guest yet, and we're going to see what happens. So yeah, I kind of like it.
I kind of like it. It feels cozy.
Yeah. It's definitely
it feels very Tuck Story style, because
I do.
When I was doing my nonprofit right back in 2010, but then when I was trying to do the whole co-working shared space and all that, this whole small, intimate feels right.
It does, and in a second, why isn't that child in school?
Interesting.
But okay, so one of the FAQs that you have technically is, or you know what, give us like a little rundown of Magically Rooted and the lab.
Hello, I'm Christian Bodasani, and I help heart-centered, purpose-driven entrepreneurs who find themselves all over the place doing all the things, embrace their unique flow, and create balance and success in their lives and business by design, by just doing the things that they love.
So one of your FAQs is, what is one thing you can do today to start building the life and business you love?
I would say take care of yourself. I think one of the biggest things that I found entrepreneurs doing when they burn out, it's because they're not taking care of themselves. Self-care is so important. And I think you got to understand your why. I think that's a big one. We always talk about the why, right? It's the why that's going to keep you going.
Yeah, I think people don't understand that deep enough, though. Like, I don't think, like yes,
why are you doing
it?
Like, why are you doing what you're doing? What makes you want to run a business? What makes you want to just live a happy life? Why? Yeah. Why?
And it's like, in all honesty, I'm hella Chinese, you guys. Like, a big motivator for me is money. The other thing, though, you have to go behind that is like, why do you want money? Oh, well, I want to support my family. Oh, why? Because my family means a lot to. Oh, why? Like
I do 7 whys.
Yeah, you have to keep going.
During my program, or like even when I'm just talking to people, when we get to the why, it's really ask yourself why. Dig whys. At least people say the 5, but I go 7.
Like go even deeper.
Like why do you even want to do that?
Like I think the funniest thing is one time I asked somebody, oh, why do you love your family? And they looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, no, like genuinely, like some people hate their families. I'm very grateful I'm not one of those people on occasion. But like genuinely, like she looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, no, why do you love your family? And she's like, oh, well, because like that's just how it is in Hawaii. Like you grow up loving your family, I feel like. And I was like, okay, go deeper, babe. Like some people really, you gotta go deeper than just that. Like if you think it stops there, it really doesn't.
So let's try this exercise.
So let's go.
We'll go back and forth. Why do you want to be a successful entrepreneur? Let's go that one.
Honestly, it's a lot of pride. For me, I'm a Leo. Like I have, like growing up, I've always had a lot of pride. And if I said I was going to make something of myself, I was going to do it no matter what. So for me, it's like I really want to be successful. So I'm going to be successful.
And why are you going to be successful?
Because I'm super driven. I also have a lot to prove to not everybody else, but to myself. I need to show that I can do it.
And why do you need to prove to yourself that you can do it?
That's like, again, I think it does come down to this whole, like, I grew up kind of like always wanting to be the best, and I never really became the best at a lot of things. I never was the best. I was always just really good at a lot of different things, like a jack of all trades type of shit. And everyone always told me, no, you have to pick one thing and get really good at it. And I was like, well, that sucks because I'm not that person. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just do what I do and I'm gonna be successful in the way that I do it.
It's kind of interesting, right? So, and then why do you want to be successful the way that you do it?
I think that comes to a lot of like, again, it comes to like this whole proving myself and like proving it to myself, proving it to others, and just genuinely like going for it. Like,
why do you think it's important to fuck 'em we ball?
Well, I do, like, honestly, I want to be the first in my family to be a millionaire. I want to be a multimillionaire. I want to be the first in my family to own a house that other than my grandfather. I want to be the first in my family to do things that just weren't done in like the generations before.
And why is it important for you to do things that has never been done before for your family?
Yeah, I like, as much as I love you guys, like, and it is for you guys, it is very like, you guys are the surface level of it, truthfully. Like, for me to use, like, I want to own a house with you because it's like, truthfully, Dad never bought you a house, you know? And I think on his end, like, he also never bought you, like, the things that you wanted. And I was like, fuck that. If you're not going to do it, I will. And I will step up and I will be the bigger man, motherfucker.
To take care of your mom.
Like, I love that. Like, and I love my dad. Don't get me wrong. He treats us well in so many other ways.
You know, we're going to probably edit that.
No. Like, I love my dad so much, and he's done all of the other things. There's just certain things that hasn't gotten done because of his own trauma and his own things.
His own adversity.
Yeah, so that he has to overcome. So it's my generational trauma to break. Like, it is. Truthfully, it is my generational trauma to break.
So that's the part. That's the why.
Yeah.
Break the generational trauma.
And if I go even farther than that, I'm like, why? It comes back to my pride. Like, I have a lot of pride and ego. Like, I do. So it's like, I would really, really, like, the thing that would kill me, like, truthfully, and make me go into a hole, is if I broke my pride. If I was the one to break my own pride. Like, if I didn't, like that would be like the end of the world for me type of stuff.
And you're so young still, so you have time.
Yeah, exactly. And I get choke time, so it's like I'm gonna go for it. Like, why not? Fucking be bomb. So it does, like, in end is like, yes, breaking my generational trauma. At the same time, why do I want to break my generational trauma? Because I have a lot of pride and I want to. Like, genuinely, like, that comes down to the basis of it. It is my pride. Like, that is what keeps me going every single day. It's not determination. It's not drive. It's my drive and my passion, and all of it comes from my pride. And I've accepted that. Because before, I was very much so like, no, don't be prideful. Don't be boast. No. No.
That's kind of great because you have to understand your uniqueness.
Yeah, and it's like, I know it's my pride.
And if that's where it comes from, like, you have to own that.
Yeah, and it's like, because I tried to
and it's
deny
not
it
in
for
a
so
bad way,
No,
though.
like, it's not. Like, I tried to deny it for so long, but I was like, and I tried to be, like, very, well, it's very community-centered, it's very da-da-da-da, and it is. Like, I do love my community, but the reason why I love it is because in my head, I truly believe that I can make my community a better place. I truly believe that I can do the things that I said that I want to do. Do I pivot here and there? Yeah, of course, you have to keep yourself fucking sane. But, like, genuinely, it all stems from, I want to prove myself, I want to prove it to everybody else, and I want to prove myself.
That you can
That
make
I
a
can.
difference in
Yeah.
your community
And
and
to
make
myself.
it a better place.
Yeah, like, truthfully.
And make your family be in a better place.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of that. Like, I know that I can, so I will. Do I know how? Not all the time, because I'm not really good at one thing. But I'll figure it out somehow.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, right.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. And I
Why? See? You see, you gotta, like, dig into your why, because when you remember that, like, I want you to just own that. You gotta own your why.
Yeah, you gotta own what you own.
Yeah.
Like, don't not own it. You're good. You good, G. Like, it's okay. Like, honestly, like, for me, I'm not gonna lie, it took a lot for me to be okay with my pride. Because I thought it was very selfish. Which it kind of is. At the same time, though, my selfishness won't just be in the betterment of me. My selfishness will be the betterment of others as well. Like, I'm not using my selfishness to step on other people. I'm using my selfishness to, like, uplift everybody else with me.
I have had so many people in my life that it was so opposite, that they were being prideful and selfish because it was for just their own selves.
Personal gain, yeah.
Their own personal gain, and that.
Like, that's not, like, if that's your prerogative, that's your prerogative. Yeah. But that's not
just
mine.
not how we roll.
That's just not how I
That's
roll.
not how Bolosanese roll. Like, honestly, that is not how Bolosanese roll.
Not in the slightest.
Not at all.
But yeah, so that is, like,
interesting.
So yeah, if you, like, dig into your why some more and it scares you, that's kind of normal, to be honest. Like, that's super, super normal. But, like, you gotta go deeper than that, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
See, that's the exercise. You gotta ask yourself 7 times, at least 7 times. People say, like, just ask yourself why. And then they say, oh, then there's the 5 whys. They call it the 5 whys. I'm like, nah.
No, you gotta
If
keep
you
going.
go 7, like, or more, like, then you really, really gonna dig deep into that.
I think the other thing, too, with the whys, though, it's like, you also have to kind of be self-aware. And you also kind of have to be accepting of it. It doesn't have to happen right away, but you have to accept that, to your core, that is your why.
Yeah.
Like, to your core, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, again, like I said, it took me a long time to accept my why and accept my okayness with, or accept, like, that is truly where I come from.
See.
Because a lot of people will get to the why, but they're like, wait, no, that scares me. Wait, no, that's not okay. And then they kind of, like, shield themselves from it. And I'm like, no, you just gotta be cool with it.
Dig into your why.
Be okay
Know your
with it.
why and own it.
Yeah, and learn how to accept it.
Accept it, own it, and be okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard, right?
Yeah.
That's, like, a hard one.
What are your thoughts on being a powerful, wealthy woman in today's world?
I think it's awesome. I think it's very important to see that. I think there are a lot of unknown hardships that come with it because there's only been, 2 or 3 generations that have been allowed to be wealthy and powerful women. It's not, like, I think your generation kind of started it where you were allowed to be wealthy. You were allowed to be powerful. You were allowed to have your own money, have your own bank accounts. So really, it's only been, like, 50 years? Like, around there. It's only been 50 years since women were allowed to be powerful. And even to this day, we're still fighting for, like, our rights.
I mean, and then it was the generation before me that kind of pound the pavement so that we could be in this place, and then that's why we pound the pavement
some more,
so that you
guys,
and the Z's can be in your place,
yeah,
right?
and I think it's so important to have your own money as a woman. because as great as it is for a man to pay your bills, as great as it is for your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, your significant other to take care of you, you never know what could happen. And I think it is so important for women to have their own money. Because back then what they did is they just had a lot of jewelry. They had gold, they had pearls that they could sell. So they still, back then, they knew that they had to have their own money. So nowadays, now that we can have our own money, I think it's so important that women do have their own money.
Keep things separate.
Yeah, I do.
And if you are with a significant other, you can have joints, but you should always have something separate.
Yeah, I also think it's so important for women to be powerful nowadays. So for the next future generations, we can, like, show them that, hey, this is possible. Hey, we can do this. I also think that women should be in positions of power. Women should be in leadership positions because there has been a lack of women in leadership positions, and women bring so much more to the table than a man could. Truthfully. And it's not because men are less or women are more. It's not that at all. It's just that there's a power difference. There's a dynamic difference. There's a biological and emotional difference. There's so many differences that are left out because women aren't at that table. Like when you bring a woman into the table, it brings a new perspective. And new perspectives are so effing important. Like in science, there wasn't women in science for a very long time. And that's why women had really bad healthcare. Women had really bad, they thought the man and woman's body worked the same. And it's like, no, they work insanely different. Like biologically are so different. And it's like, you need to treat them differently. You can't give the same dose to a woman as a man. You can't use the same meds on a man as a woman. It's like, there's so many different things. And
once we had that
woman
voice on the table,
we were able to really make a change for women. And so,
in regards to our healthcare.
Yeah. And also too, think about it. A woman in New Zealand who's the president, she made New Zealand awesome. We've just never had too many women in leadership positions, and I think it's so important to have women in leadership positions. So we have that different perspective. So we have that voice. So we have that, that women say, because it's kind of lacking, and I don't like that it's lacking.
We only have two,
We've never had a woman president.
Yeah, so it's a good thing to have a different, like you said, perspective.
Yeah, so I think it's awesome to see more women try to be the leaders of their own lives, try to be boss-ass bitches. I love it. I also do think that women have to remember that we need to step into our own divine femininity at the same time. You can be as powerful as you want. You can be as driven and goal-oriented and thought-provoking as you want.
Right.
But also understand that your divine feminine doesn't need to be shut down just for you to be in those roles.
Yeah, you don't have to just play the masculine
role. Yeah.
Oh, the reason why we are unique is because we are female.
Yeah.
We are female. That we just tap into our emotions, spirituality, our physical being differently.
Yeah, and it's it's okay.
And you gotta appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think it's so
welcome that.
Yeah, I think it's so important to bring our femininity to the table and not just be a woman in a masculine position. Mm-hmm. I think it's important that we have femininity and womanhood in that position and not just have a woman in a masculine position type of situation.
Interesting. What's the biggest lesson you've learned about ambition and burnout?
I'm still learning that one to this very day.
I'm just kind of going through it.
Be ambitious. Always be ambitious.
Have goals,
always
right?
Have goals.
Always good to have goals.
Don't let yourself burn out. And the way you can prevent burnout is by doing the things you love. And if you feel yourself reaching a point of burnout, maybe this is the time to reflect and be self-aware of that. I'm not going to lie, I'm very self-aware of when I'm hitting my burnout point. I'm very aware of that. And for me, that's super important because before I wasn't, and I would cry all the time, and I didn't realize why.
And you'd shut down, or you would spin out.
And then I didn't realize it wasn't because I was over-emotional. It was because I was tired. I was burnt out because I was overly ambitious. And my ambition came at a cost, And as much as I love my ambition, I love my drive, I also have to make sure I take care of myself. And I think this kind of goes into your FAQs of how important is self-care to business.
Oh, it's always important. And like I said you got to take care of yourself first so that you have the capacity to take care of all the things that you need to do. And my thing is all the things, right? Being a woman, being a mom, being a business owner of multiple companies, being being supportive to your spouse, your family, a child, being a daughter, being a friend, being a coach, being a mentor, being an instructor, doing all the things. How do you do all the things and still be okay without burning out? Is you got to take care of yourself. That's why I talk about my daily sacred 10. Every morning I will stretch in bed. I will lay and just say things that I'm grateful for before my feet hit the floor. and I will not reach for my phone. That's kind of like a
That's a
big
good
thing.
one. I need to start doing that.
The first thing, I never reach for my phone. Like, anybody who knows me in my classes, whatever, I always say, charge your phone where it's not in reach from when you wake up. And the reason being is because once you reach for that phone, if that's the first thing you do, you're saying that other people's agendas
is more important than mine.
Than your own.
Ooh.
Because you're like, oh, I got a text. That was somebody who's driving me having a response. Oh, I got an email from someone that needs a response from me. I have a social media direct message that is someone else's agenda that's saying that they need my attention, but that I need to respond to, but that is not part of your specific agenda.
That makes sense. I need to start doing that.
Don't let other people's agendas start your day. That's a
like
huge
that.
one.
Like
Don't
that.
let other people's things start your day. You start your day the way you need to be like focused, driven, to get things done, and then you'll be so much happier.
That's valid.
Try it.
I need to start doing that seriously.
Telling you, don't charge your phone by where it's in hand's reach.
Okay.
That was like usually week 1 of my program. I always tell people, do not have your phone near
where you sleep.
Don't let other people's agendas drive.
I do like that. Okay, so we're gonna do my FAQ next.
How can someone stay informed without feeling overwhelmed by the news?
Ooh, okay. Well, personally, I don't love the news.
Me neither.
We'll start there. I think
it's very curated, crafted to be
what they
want you to think and say.
So I don't love watching the news. I do watch the news here and there to get some information. What I like to do personally is if I hear something like an important topic or something that doesn't sit right with me or just anything in general, if I hear it, I'm going to go search it up. I'm going to go research it real quick, just because then it's a little bit easier for me to just read it rather than get it all in video format. Because when it's in video format, they're just spewing information at you. You have to hear it. You have to hear how fast they're talking. You have to hear how much they're saying. And I'm a talker, so I love talking. So this is also crazy for me, right? But I'll hear a topic. I'll go do some research into it. I'll just read the first article. I'll be aware of it. I'm like, okay, now I know that this is going on. If I want to, I'll share about it to spread awareness about it.
You do more than just the first thing that you read?
No, yeah, definitely. I definitely read different sources. Like, I read the direct source, I read one of the news outlet sources, and then I read, like, a little bit under it. Like, don't use the first Google search, obviously. But, like, I go check a few things, and then if I want to reshare it, I'll reshare it on social media. Just to, like,
give your thoughts.
And I'll give my thoughts about it, just to get that word out there. And then maybe I'll make a podcast about it, or I'll bring it up in casual conversation when we are talking about issues like this. But I don't let myself get my feelings involved. Truthfully, I can't allow myself to have my feelings involved in politics because it creates me to spiral. It creates a very deep, dark depression hole for me, which I don't appreciate and I don't love. So for me, I keep it at a very educational standpoint, and I keep it at a very informative, like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what I'm going to share. This is how I feel. I acknowledge how I felt. And now how am I going to get past that, and how am I going to either make a change or at least spread awareness?
So that's kind of your tips on how to stay informed, right? Like if you hear about something,
go
before you just believe it,
go do some research.
Figure it out, and then move forward.
And don't doom scroll. Oh my gosh, doom scrolling is scary. Do not doom scroll on it. Okay. How can I use affirmations, visualizations, and gratitude to build a thriving business?
Oh, that one is so fun. I would do like a whole thing where I can walk you through creating your own affirmation, which I love. And I think it's just more of a positive talk. That's why that happens, right? But I also so you can create your positive affirmations, or you can get decks of cards, affirmation cards. You can find different mantras all over the place, but find things that resonate with you and find things that's going to motivate you to be the way that you want to feel, right? There's positive affirmations, there's daily mantras to get you through the day. There's different ways that you can just kind of tap into mantras. But as you remember, growing up, I have like mantra cards.
Yeah.
And then I also have essential oils that
love the oils.
Kind of go with some of the mantras, or I usually like to choose an oil to kind of help solidify. Because for me, having visual, being the smelling things, audio things, all those things make a difference in my learning so that I can kind of be intentional about how I'm going about doing things. And so for your business, if you need those kinds of touches, Positive affirmations can help you kind of get through your day, kind of get you through your month, get you going. You can create your own affirmations, but really manifesting the life and the business that you want really comes from within. But then you can have these tangible things like mantras, positive affirmation, essential oils, doing meditation. All those things can totally help you.
Nice. I love that.
Just kind of get grounded, get rooted, right?
Yeah.
And all these magical elements from the earth, like oils, like self-talk, positive self-talk, other people kind of sharing, go do that.
Okay. Period. But yeah, I think that is all the time we have in the photo studio. I think we're actually a little over, so we should go.
I think it's cool though.
But yeah, I think that was it. We're gonna continue this podcast in the studio if you guys like it. I think I kind of like it.
I kind of like it.
And then we'll finish up our FAQs on another week. But I think our next podcast, we're gonna be in Greece, you guys.
Yes, Greece. Join us in Greece.
Join our next FAQs in Greece. Bye, you guys.
Bye.